Hey everyone, and welcome to your May 2022 readings. I decided to change up the scenery since it's just super beautiful out, and also speaking of change, I changed up the format this month. I might change it back, but this month we are focusing on all love readings across all signs. So that's what we're focused on. Remember that this is a collective reading for your sun, moon, or rising sign, right? So if this particular one doesn't resonate, I would check out your other two signs. Speaking of which, if you're wondering, I don't know, I follow tropical, I follow sidereal, which one? I would say just whichever you resonate with the most. So if you resonate more with sidereal and those associations, then follow the sun, moon, rising that's in that system, right? Or vice versa. So the timestamps will be down below as well. There are links also for how you can book a one-to-one reading with me. Of course, if we're doing collective reading, we can't hit the mark for every single like Aries or Aquarius all the way down, all the way through, right? So if you want something specific that is specific to your situation, I would recommend booking a reading with me personally. The links for that are down below. Also for how to get 20% off and 50% off of a one-to-one 90-minute reading with me. Last thing I'll say, oh yes, cards and cocktails. We didn't do it for the month of April. I know, I just got so busy. So we are doing a cards and cocktails hangout. It's a live hangout on Instagram that I do on Instagram. I might choose to do on YouTube. I still haven't gotten around to deciding whether I want to do it here or not because I have more people that follow me over there versus here. This is brand new, so we'll see. But if you want to stay up on that, follow me over on Instagram. I'm probably most likely going to be doing it either the first weekend of this month, which I know Mother's Day is there, so I might not do it then. I might do it when the moon is in Sag later in the month, which I think is around the 26th, 5th or 6th or 7th, something like that. So again, if you want to stay up on that, follow me over on Instagram. Last thing I'll say is that there are new monthly subscriptions that you can check out over on Patreon, and that's in the description as well, for how you can get ongoing divinatory guidance if you are going through a really stressful period, a transition period, with work, with life, with love, with anything, and you're wanting some like ongoing guidance. There are two options that I would recommend, right? One of them is a monthly subscription for weekly 30-minute readings, right? So it's like tapping in every single week on like what's up, right? And that's either live or recorded. And then the other is for a monthly reading with me for 90-minute reading, and that's either live or recorded. I only have a few spots for the lives, especially just because I need to make sure that I can deliver them. So if you want to get something like that done, feel free to hit me up. Without further ado, please continue on to your readings. Let me know how you like them. If you want me to stay focused on love, maybe we'll just keep that rolling for a little while too. I don't know. I'm still playing around with this channel, so I will talk to you guys next month. Thanks. Bye. Hello Taurus, and welcome to your May 2022 reading. So let's get into it. We are doing something different. So if you haven't checked out the video, the short video just before this, I explain it there. But we are trying something different this month just because I feel like it. And I like switching things up to keep them fun and different. So let me know how you like it. So we're getting into love. All of the readings are going to be focused on love this month, and I'll explain as we go. So first, we are taking a look at what is coming up for you, and we'll look at your information, and then we'll look at the person who you're interested in, right? Now, I want to say you want to be careful to only pick one person. If you're someone who's in multiple relationships, or if you're single and dating and you have multiple interests, I'm going to say the person you have top of mind, right? So the person that is most on your mind, the person that you feel the strongest about, or that you're maybe questioning the most about, this is not, you want to have someone firmly in your mind that you're thinking about, right? So, and this first line is going to be all about you. And I have to say, I'm really liking this, doing this so far. So we might keep with it, depending on the feedback that I get. All right, so this first line is you. Next, we're taking a look at the person of interest. Again, keep one person in mind. Now, if this is If this resonates with you this month, if this particular reading resonates with you, awesome. If it doesn't, just remember, then okay, it wasn't your message this month. It's a collective reading. So if you want a specific personal one-to-one reading, you're going to want to make sure to book a personal reading with me. Okay? That second line is your person, and we'll get into all of these, and then we're going to take a look at what is going on with your internal being, your internal landscape. And what's coming up also with your external landscape. What's happening outside? What's your outside world? What are you focused on externally, right? Internally, externally. So, internally, that seems pretty aligned. And what's going on externally, because as we know, what's happening in our internal world and what we're focused on externally can affect our dating, our love, relationships, right? So we're talking about romantic love here. Remember that that's what we're talking about. So that is too many cards. We are definitely not going with that many. We're looking for one card. All right, so one card for my Taurus for May 2022, external. Interesting. All right, Taurus, we're going to get into this. I'm going to read this a couple of different ways because from what I'm seeing here, I think it'll become clear as we go through the reading. So, okay. So first, let's start with the fact that you've got the Wheel of Fortune that's happening here. So things are shifting and changing for you, and not just in life, right? This could also be about life, but in terms of the relationship. Now, this could be life circumstances that are affecting the relationship and moving things in a different direction. Whatever it is, the wheel is turning, right? Seasons change, we change, people change. There is always change. And so there is some kind of shift that is a noticeable shift that is not something that you can do anything about. This can also represent karma. Some karma coming in with this. Now, I'm going to read this for both if you're in a relationship or if you are single and dating, right? Again, I'm not talking about multiple relationships or not. We're focused on one particular connection, right? And where you are. So that's what we're looking at first, what we're starting out with. And then we're seeing that in the challenge position, and I'm going to read this a couple of different ways, right? This is what I was kind of looking at and kind of say, interesting. It seems to me that in this challenge space for this particular connection that your extended family, or this could even represent chosen family, like friendships that feel like family, you know, your chosen family, like your community, your really close-knit friends. But this could also just be extended family, is not necessarily in support of this particular connection completely. You know, for some reason, there's something that they're not necessarily completely on board with. Doesn't mean that the person's a bad person. Maybe they're kind of seeing something that is not looking like it's aligning or matched up, right? Like there's some kind of incompatibility, or maybe that's something that you're considering, is that there's some kind of incompatibility. The thing about this particular card with the Four of Wands, it's like they're outside of the castle walls, right? They're away from the protective walls. They're out in the open. They're trusting and vulnerable and open and free. In a challenge position, it's basically saying, I'm not so sure that that's there. I'm not so sure that there is this compatibility that is present here. I'm not sure that you have the support of the community and people around you. Now, that's one way that I would read this, right? The other way that I would read this is that this is the wheel turning into a rite of passage, and that there's some resistance internally for you about whether this rite of passage, this wheel, should be turning in this direction. The reason why I see this is because you're being called, right? This is your spiritual guidance with regard just to you and this connection, right? Is you're being called into a higher version of the relationship, of the connection, right? So this could be about taking the next step, moving into the higher version of a relationship with someone. So going from dating to exclusive, going from exclusivity to moving in together, you know, and so forth. This can also, though, represent being called into a higher version of relationship. So I want to be careful about how I say this. So a higher caliber of relationship. something that is a higher vibration and maybe a better match for you, because of the fact that this could be about some kind of incompatibilities or question marks about whether you guys are fully compatible for something more long term, right? So take that for dating or for relationship, right? I see that going a couple different ways, so I want to read it in those couple of different ways. Let's take a look at what's going on with your person. So when we're looking at your person, they're riding high. They're riding high coming into this. I feel like they're not necessarily so privy to any of the question marks that may be happening on your end. Like they're kind of feeling like they're on top of it. They got it down, right? They're like, yeah, I'm doing a great job. Things are going great. It's all right. And meanwhile, there's some stuff in the background. It's not necessarily bad. Again, I don't want to make this out to be like this is bad and like you should leave this and I don't know. It's just we all have doubts, right? We all go through periods where, especially at certain points in a connection, where we start to question, okay, like, do we go to the next step or is this done, right? Do we continue, or, you know, are we really compatible for the long term? Do I want to continue to invest, right? These are natural questions that come up at various you know, kind of checkpoints, right, along the way in a connection. And so when we're looking at the challenge that they have here, it's interesting because the King of Pentacles, it's, again, I want to read the challenges in a couple different ways. I think that's why I paused and I was like, So I thought, this particular card with the King of Pentacles, I could say, yeah, maybe they are having some kind of financial struggle or some kind of struggle with how they really want to create their life, right? Their legacy, their life, their kingdom, what they're materializing, right? What they're creating in this world, what they're bringing into form, right? That's what the earth is, earth quality, the pentacles, the coins. This is about earthly energy. And so part of the struggle that might be coming up, maybe this is what has you have any kinds of questions, or maybe your friends or extended family. But there is this kind of, they might be struggling with this, and that might be bringing some things into question. The other side of this that I would say is, what comes up for me immediately is like both of them were like vying for my attention, is the question of whether this person is going to be able to make the shifts that need to be able to happen for this relationship to continue to move forward at a pace that works for you, right? So they might be a little bit stubborn or slow to change. Not that they won't change, but that they're slow to change, that it takes them time to actually move into change, right? And so so that's something to consider, is that for them it's challenging. You know, you might be presenting things that you want for the relationship or to move things forward or whatever it is, and they might hear you, and it might just take them a longer time to process. Earth energy is a slower moving energy, right? So so that's just something to consider, is that's what might be occurring here. And then we see that their guidance, what they need to be doing is actually going within, like having some solitude, having some time alone, and taking time to get some perspective, to get some to the heart of their inner guidance, you know, to get clear on what they think, what they feel, what they want to do with this connection specifically. And there's a need to do that. Perhaps because they're being prompted to make certain shifts and changes, and they want to make sure that it's like, maybe this is their process, right? This is what's like how they go about doing this, but they need some time to go inward and to think this through, and to see whether they can match up with what it is that you are wanting as well, right? But they're needing that for themselves in order for this to go forward, right? So then we're going to take a look at two things. We're looking at your internal world and what your external world is, right? So let's take a look at your internal world. So we have the moon, very appropriate, right? Our internal world is kind of like in the shadows. It's not what we show to the world. It's not in the light of the sun, right? The sun card is like everything is being shown light upon, everything is exposed. Like imagine high noon and you're in a place where it's like everything, there's just no shadows. Well, not to say there's never any shadows, but you know what I mean, right? So there's light over everything. And so this is the internal world. This has to do with our emotions and our psychic abilities, right? So internally, there is this also like the shedding of the skin that is happening. There's some kind of shedding of skin. This could have to do with the wheel that is turning and the higher calling that's like calling you forward. And whether this has to do directly with a relationship or not, these two cards have to do with where you are in your life right now, right? So, and just noticing how these two can affect the rest of the reading overall with this relationship or this dating situation, right? So we have like the dog and the wolf, which represent the like the more domesticated aspects of ourselves and the more wild aspects of ourselves. And so here we have the reconciling these two different parts of ourselves and giving them both voice internally, really listening to both aspects of ourselves. We could say yin and yang, we could say domesticated and wild. We could say all of these different things, but it's really just about examining what's there in the shadows. What are the things that you maybe have been avoiding looking at? Like, what are the things that you have that you need to examine with regard to maybe with the relationship, maybe with this connection, but with your life? It seems like internally you're going through some kinds of shifts, and you're kind of sifting through the shadows and in that world for you. And so I think this is really appropriate for an internal world card. I mean, like, how perfect is that? And then we have what your external focus is. So it seems that here we have, and let's see if I can just put that in frame. Yeah. So here we have the 10 of Swords. I know it looks really bleak, but the 10 of Swords is actually kind of very similar to the Death card. This is the end before a new dawn, right? This is the end of something, end scene, right? Person is dead, and it's like done, end scene, new beginning, right? And this doesn't necessarily relate to the relationship. Again, this is what's going on in your external world. This is about patterns that are ending, certain ways of thinking or being that are ending. A cycle has ended. Patterns especially. Pay attention to which aspects of your life are you really focused on, and how is this affecting your thoughts about moving things forward in the relationship or in this connection? How do you see it affecting your relationship life, right? That's why we look at what this is, because you could be, you know, with other, like the reading just before you, there was so much that was happening in the world of career and creation, and that's what was really being shown, and that was affecting the rest of the bandwidth that somebody had to be able to show up in a relationship or in a dating situation, right? So these are the things that affect our ability to move forward. I'm feeling like you're dealing with some stuff where you're shedding skin, you're going through maybe some shadow work, or you're looking at how to integrate certain aspects of yourself, reconciling certain emotions. Like, you're going deep, right? You're getting into the stuff and you're moving through it to move it out of the way so that you can be clean and clear, right? So that you can actually step into this higher calling space, because the wheel is turning, right? So I hope that that's really clear for you. I do want to, so what we're doing this month is we're going deeper into the love reading in the extended version. So I want to get some cards for a couple of things going on here. Okay. So first I want to get a sense, I want to get a little bit more clarity on what's going on here. All right, so those actually came out very quickly. So we've got 2 cards coming up for what his challenge is, or her challenge, whoever's challenge. And then we're going to, I definitely want to get an idea of what is the purpose of this? You know, if they're going to go into solitude, that's where they're being guided to. Like, to what end? What is the reason? What is the outcome? What is the purpose of them being guided to do that? Okay, feeling 1 card for that. Also, I'd like to know just like, what are the if you haven't identified what are the shadows that are coming up with regard to the moon, like what are these things that are in your internal landscape? I'm going to take a look at that. 1, 2, I'm feeling 3 cards for that. Okay. And also, I feel like that's going to be connected overall to this. I feel like that's a mirror for the 10 of Swords that's showing up here, but I do want to get, I'm feeling like 2 cards for that. Okay, Let me just see if there's anything else that I want to get a little bit more information on. Those all seem pretty clear for you. Yeah, that's it. So that's what we're going to take a look at. We're going to look a little bit further into like what their challenge is, what's blocking them, what's coming up as a challenge for between the two of you. What is it that, like, to what end, for them to go inward and to have the solace? Like, what is that going to produce? And then I want to take a look at what's really going on for you over here. So we're not just looking at them, we're taking a look at you. Like, what's going on with your internal landscape, and what are these patterns about? What are the things that are ending that might be able to help you with navigating this, right? As we have for the last couple of months, we're going to also take a look at deities. So again, these are the yin and yang energies, the polarity energies of the universe that we all possess inside of us. This is not about gender. This is not about identity. Okay, so I want you to remember that. These are either, if your belief structures support gods and goddesses, then these are your homies that got your back for this month. They're going to help you navigate all of this, right? And if that is not within your belief structures, then this is really about these archetypes and how you can emulate and embody the strengths that they bring to the table, so that you can have some guidance with what you can do to move through any of the challenges for the month. And then we're going to take a look at what's coming up with, or not what's coming up with, sorry, what your guides and your ancestors have to say. So this particular deck, I've been finding more and more as I've been working with it longer. I feel like it's a direct line. Like, we were looking at what the spiritual advice is for a relationship, you know, right, for this connection, for you, for them. But this is overall, right? This is what are you being guided towards overall? So that's something to keep in mind. These cards, the oracle cards that we're pulling, these are all for your overall life, right? This is for overall. So since we're not going over doing the overall this month the way that we did the last previous months, and the way and not going over into like business and career this month, we're focused on love, and we're focused on that primarily. Sorry. I got distracted by a bird outside my window. So the oracle cards are going to deal with your life overall, right? So how are you being guided? Also, what are the shadows? I know that shadow work gets overused quite a bit, but we're looking at what are the blind spots, essentially, the things that hold you back, the things that trip you up that you're not necessarily aware of, the things that maybe you should be working on, but you kind of wince and you don't really want to, right? So, and then we're going to take a look at a rune as well. So those are all going to be guidance for your overall life, for business, for friendships, for everything else that's coming up in the month of May. That's the guidance that's coming up for you. So again, when we're talking about the ancestor and guides that are coming through, this is just their voice for overall, not just for relationships or anything like that. All right, so I will see you over in the extended. I'm just going to continue this reading over there. The link for that is down below. Remember that you can book a specific one-to-one reading with me if this was like resonating with you, or if it wasn't, then just keep in mind it may or may not have been your message for this month. Check out your other signs for that. But all of the information is down below for how you can get 50% off or 20% off a one-to-one reading with me or subscriptions. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. I will see you next month. Thank you, Taurus. Bye.